Mommy, why is Daddy's voice on my tablet? 5 innocent words. 5 words that would expose a millionaire's secret affair, reveal a calculated plan to destroy a pregnant woman, and prove that sometimes the truth comes from the most unexpected witnesses. 7-year-old Emma didn't mean to record 7 hours of her father's conversations. She was just playing her princess game. She had no idea her tablet was capturing everything. The late-night phone calls, the intimate conversations with his mistress, the detailed strategy to divorce his 8 months pregnant wife the moment their baby was born. Marcus Bennett thought he had everything planned perfectly. Wait until Claire was vulnerable and exhausted from childbirth, then file for divorce with an ironclad prenup that would leave her with almost nothing. He'd already hidden $3 million offshore, already calculated how to take custody of their newborn, already discussed moving his mistress into the guest house. He thought his wife would be too tired, too broken, too dependent to fight back. He was wrong. Because that little girl's recording, it captured every word, every plan, every betrayal. And Claire Bennett was about to show her millionaire husband exactly what a mama bear does when you threaten her cubs. This is the story of how an innocent child's game app brought down an empire of lies, how a pregnant woman became a warrior, and how justice sometimes comes wrapped in the most unexpected packages. Stay with me, because what happens next will shock you. Mommy, why is Daddy's voice on my tablet? The syrup bottle froze halfway to the pancakes. Claire Bennett's hands stopped midair, sticky sweetness threatening to drip onto the granite counter. 8 months pregnant, she had learned to move carefully, deliberately. But Emma's innocent question made everything inside her go still. What do you mean, sweetie? Claire set the syrup down slowly. Her voice sounded normal. That surprised her. Emma held up her pink tablet, the screen glowing with her princess game. But it wasn't game sounds coming from the speakers. It was voices, adult voices, her father's voice, and another woman's voice. I was playing my game in Daddy's office last night, Emma said. She was 7, gap-toothed, and trusting. The app kept recording even when I wasn't looking at it. See? Marcus appeared in the kitchen doorway, his face drained of color so fast Claire could track it, like someone had pulled a plug. He crossed the kitchen in 3 strides and snatched the tablet from Emma's small hands. It's just a work call, pumpkin, he said. His voice came out too loud, too sharp. Nothing important, but Claire had heard it, just those few seconds before he grabbed the device. A woman's voice, intimate and soft. When will you tell her? The baby's almost here. The kitchen tilted. Claire gripped the counter, her belly pressed against the granite edge. Inside, the baby kicked, oblivious. Marcus, she said quietly, what was that? Nothing, I told you, a work call. He held the tablet behind his back like a child hiding evidence. Emma must have accidentally recorded one of my conference calls. Emma looked confused. But Daddy, that lady said your name the way Mommy does. All soft and, go watch TV, Emma, Marcus said. The sharpness in his voice made Emma flinch. Now. Emma's eyes filled with tears. She looked at Claire, then at her father, then fled from the kitchen. Her small feet pounded up the stairs. A door slammed. Claire and Marcus stood across from each other in the kitchen they had renovated together 2 years ago. The kitchen where she had told him about this pregnancy, where he had smiled and kissed her and said all the right words, words she had believed. Let me hear it, Claire said. There's nothing to hear. Marcus, let me hear the recording. His face changed. Something shifted behind his eyes. That look she had seen in business meetings when he was calculating his next move, when he was deciding how much truth to tell. You're being paranoid, he said. His voice went soft now, reasonable. Pregnancy hormones can make you see things that aren't there. I'm not seeing things. I heard it. Claire's heart hammered against her ribs. Her hands moved instinctively to her belly, protective. I heard a woman asking, when you'll tell me something. You heard 3 seconds of a recording taken out of context by a 7-year-old's game app, Marcus said. He set the tablet on the counter between them. Do you know how insane you sound right now? There it was, that word, insane. The same word his mother had used when Claire questioned the prenup before their wedding. the same word he used whenever she pushed back on anything. But she had heard what she heard. "Send it to me," Claire said. "What?" "The recording. Send it to my phone." Marcus's jaw tightened. "There's nothing to send. I'm deleting it. Emma shouldn't be recording people without their knowledge. It's a privacy violation." He picked up the tablet. His thumb moved across the screen. "Wait," Claire said, but her voice came out wrong. Weak, uncertain, exactly how she felt. Marcus looked at her, really looked at her, 8 months pregnant, wearing one of his old college shirts because nothing else fit anymore. Hair unwashed, no makeup. She had gained 42 pounds. Her ankles swelled by evening. She waddled instead of walked. "Go rest," he said, not unkindly. "You're stressed. It's not good for the baby." He left the kitchen, left her standing there, pancake batter congealing in the bowl, syrup still sticky on her hand. Claire stood very still. Inside her, the baby kicked again, harder this time, as if sensing something was wrong. She pulled her phone from her pocket. Lock, unlock, lock, unlock, lock. Her thumb hovered over Marcus's contact photo, that smile, that face she loved, that man she trusted, or had trusted. She unlocked it one more time, opened her messages, found the family thread with Emma. "Sweetie," she texted, "can you send Mommy all the files from your tablet? All of them. I want to see your princess game progress." The reply came fast. "Okay, Mommy, I have lots of recordings. The app saves everything." Claire's breath caught. "Send them all, baby. Send everything." She waited. Her phone buzzed. Again and again. File after file downloading. Audio files. Dozens of them. Hours of them. 7 hours and 43 minutes, according to the timestamps. Claire's hands shook as she sent them all to her cloud storage, then to her email, then to a second cloud account Marcus didn't know about, the one she had set up when she started worrying, when the late nights at work became too frequent, when the lipstick on his collar that one time had been explained away as a drink spilled at a client dinner, when her gut told her something was wrong, but her heart refused to listen. Upstairs, a door opened. Emma's small voice called out, "Mommy, I'm sorry if I did something bad." Claire's heart cracked. She went to the stairs, one hand on the railing, one on her belly. Emma stood at the top, tears streaking her face. "You didn't do anything bad, sweetheart," Claire said. "You were just playing your game, that's all." "Ms. Sam didn't see me there," Emma said. She twisted her hands together. "I was really quiet. She and Daddy were talking in the other room, but my tablet kept recording everything." "Ms. Sam," the name hit Claire like a fist. Samantha Rothwell, Marcus's VP of Operations, the woman who had been at their house for dinner, who had complimented Claire's cooking, who had brought Emma a birthday present, who apparently knew about the baby being almost here. "It's okay, honey," Claire managed. "Go watch your shows. We'll talk later." Emma nodded and disappeared into the playroom. Claire stood on the stairs, one hand gripping the railing so hard her knuckles went white. She needed to sit down. She needed to think. She needed to listen to those recordings. But Marcus was still in the house. She could hear him on the phone in his office, voice low and urgent. Claire went back to the kitchen, finished making the pancakes with mechanical precision, called Emma down to eat. Marcus appeared, all smiles now, kissed the top of Emma's head, kissed Claire's cheek like nothing had happened. "I have to run to the office," and he said, "Emergency with the code deployment. I'll be back tonight." It was Sunday. There was no code deployment. Claire had been married to a tech CEO long enough to know their rhythms. "Okay," she said. She even managed a smile. He left. She heard his car start, the garage door close. Claire stood at the kitchen window, watching his taillights disappear down their tree-lined street. This street they had chosen together. This house they had built together. This life she had believed was real. She picked up her phone, put in her earbuds, clicked on the first recording, and everything she thought she knew began to crumble. The nursery door locked with a soft click. Claire had spent 3 months painting this room. Pale yellow walls, white trim, a border of hand-painted butterflies. She had stood on a step stool, Marcus holding her steady, reaching up with her brush to add each delicate wing. Back when she still believed in delicate things. Now she sat on the floor, back against the closet door, earbuds in. The room smelled like baby powder and fresh paint. The crib she had assembled herself stood in the corner, mobile hanging above it, tiny clothes organized by size in the dresser. Everything ready, everything perfect. She pressed play on the first audio file. Static at first, Emma's game sounds in the background, those cheerful princess melodies. Then a door opening. Footsteps. Is Emma still here? A woman's voice. Smooth, professional. Familiar. Sam's voice. She's in the TV room with her tablet, Marcus said. She won't hear anything. She's got her headphones on. The sound of a door closing. Claire's heart hammered. She turned up the volume. You're sure? Sam asked. Positive. She's glued to that game. We're fine. A pause, then Sam spoke again, her voice softer, more intimate. When will you tell her? The baby's almost here. After it's born. Marcus's voice. Claire knew that voice, had loved that voice. When she's vulnerable and dependent, she won't leave then. Claire's hand went to her belly. The baby kicked. She pressed her palm against the movement, tears streaming down her face. That seems cruel, Sam said, but she didn't sound upset. She sounded thoughtful. Won't she suspect? Claire, no. She's too busy nesting, too wrapped up in being pregnant to notice anything. Marcus laughed. Actually laughed. She barely looks at me anymore anyway. It's all about the baby. And after? After, we wait 6 months. Let her get settled into motherhood. Then I file. By then she'll be so exhausted and overwhelmed, she won't fight it. But the prenup covers everything. If we divorce in the first 5 years, she gets $100,000 and nothing else. No support, no claim to the company. We're at 4 years, 11 months right now. Perfect timing. Claire's breath came in short gasps. She had signed that prenup 5 years ago, stupidly in love, trusting him when he said it was just a formality, that they would grow old together, that it would never matter. And then what? Sam asked. We just, what, date openly? You move into the guest house. We say you are renting it. By the time the divorce is final, enough time will have passed. No one will question us being together. And the baby? Babies are exhausting. Courts usually favor the parent with more stability, more resources. Marcus's voice went cold, clinical. I've already talked to my lawyer. If we document her struggling with postpartum depression, sleep deprivation, inability to cope, it builds a case for primary custody. You'd take the baby from her? Sam sounded uncertain now. I'd do what's best for my child. Living with a mother who can barely function versus living here with help, with stability. It's obvious which is better. Claire bit her fist to keep from screaming. She rocked forward, clutching her belly, silent sobs shaking her body. The recording continued. What about Emma? Sam asked. Emma will adjust. Kids are resilient. And honestly, it might be good for her to see what a healthy relationship looks like instead of watching her father with a wife who's let herself go. Marcus, Sam's voice held a note of reproach. That's harsh. It's honest. Look, I married Claire when I was building the company. She was supportive. She was there. But I've outgrown her. She's boring. We don't have anything to talk about anymore. Half our conversations are about baby stuff or what color to paint the nursery. Claire looked at the yellow walls, the butterflies she had spent hours painting, the love she had poured into every brushstroke. Boring. And you're not boring? Sam asked. There was amusement in her voice now. Flirtation. You tell me. Sounds Claire didn't want to interpret. Movement, soft laughter. The recording quality dipped as if the tablet had been moved or covered. Then Sam's voice again, breathless. Does she know, suspect anything? No, she's completely oblivious. I could come home covered in your perfume and she'd just ask if I'd been near the cologne counter at the department store. More laughter. Then Marcus spoke again, serious now. We need to be careful, though. Just a little longer. Once the baby comes, once I file, we're free. But if she finds out before then, she could contest the prenup on grounds of infidelity. Make things messy. So we wait. We wait 3 weeks until her due date, then 6 months of letting her think everything's fine, then freedom, less than a year total. We can do that. I hate lying about it here, then Suwam said, but she didn't sound like she hated it very much. Then think of it as protecting our future. This is temporary. The discomfort, the sneaking around. Soon it'll be over. Soon we'll have everything we want. The recording ended. Claire sat in the nursery, the room blurring through her tears. She looked at the crib mobile. She had chosen it carefully. Little animals swaying in circles. Emma had helped her hang it, standing on the step stool, reaching up while Claire held her steady. The memory twisted into something ugly now. How many times had Marcus held her steady while planning to take everything away? She wiped her eyes. There were more recordings, 6 more hours of them. 6 more hours. She pressed play on the next one, and the next, and the next. By the time she finished, 3 hours had passed. The sun had moved across the sky. Outside, she heard neighborhood sounds. Kids playing, a lawnmower. Sunday afternoon stretching into evening. Inside the nursery, inside herself, everything had shattered. The recordings painted a clear picture. Marcus and Sam had been together for almost 2 years, since before the pregnancy, since before Claire had quit her marketing job to focus on preparing for the baby, since before she had given up everything to support his dream of taking the company public. They talked about her weight gain, her swollen ankles, the way she waddled now, how she fell asleep on the couch by 8:30, how she cried at commercials. They laughed about it. They mimicked her. They counted down the days until he would be free of her, and they planned. Oh, how they planned. The guest house renovation, the story they would tell, the timeline, the custody strategy. Even the therapist they would suggest she see. One Marcus's lawyer had recommended because he was known to provide documentation helpful in custody cases. Every detail calculated, every move strategic. Claire sat on the floor, counting baby kicks. 43, 44, 45. The baby was active today, oblivious to the world crumbling around them both. She touched the crib mob, set it spinning. The little animals went around and around, always returning to the same spot, trapped in their circle. But she wasn't trapped. Not yet. Her phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Code deployment taking longer than expected. We'll be late. Don't wait up. Claire stared at the message. She knew exactly where he was. Probably at Sam's condo. The one he paid for through a company housing stipend. The one Claire didn't know about because she never questioned the business expenses. Why would she? She trusted him. Trusted. Past tense. She pulled herself up off the floor. Her back ached. Her feet hurt. She looked in the mirror above the changing table. 8 months pregnant. Exhausted. Swollen. Everything he had said about her was visible in her reflection. But something else was there too. Something new. Fury. I'm not crazy, she said to her reflection, to the baby, to herself. I know what I heard, and I deserve better than this. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was Emma. Mommy, is Daddy mad at me? Claire's rage crystallized into something cold and clear. They had used Emma, used her innocence, planned to use the new baby, planned to use Claire's love for her children against her. She typed back. No, sweetie, Daddy's not mad. And Mommy's going to make sure everything's okay. I promise. Another text came through from her best friend Rebecca, the divorce attorney. They texted every Sunday, usually about nonsense, shows they were watching, books they were reading. Today, Rebecca had sent a meme about marriage. It was funny. Claire stared at it. Then she started typing. Becca, I need to talk to you tonight. Can you come over? The response was immediate. On my way, 20 minutes. Claire looked around the nursery one more time. This room she had built with love. This space she had created for a baby who would be born into a war, because she was going to fight, not for Marcus, not for the marriage. Those were already dead. She just hadn't known it yet. But for herself, for Emma, for this baby growing inside her who deserved better than to be used as a pawn in someone's calculated game. She picked up her phone, downloaded all the recordings to 3 more backup locations. Sent copies to her personal email. The email account her mother had access to. The one Rebecca had access to. If something happened to her phone, if Marcus found it and deleted everything, the evidence would still exist. She took one more look at the butterflies on the wall. She had painted them believing in transformation, in beauty emerging from darkness. She just hadn't known she would be the one transforming. The doorbell rang. Rebecca, always punctual, always reliable. Claire dried her tears, smoothed down her shirt, put one hand on her belly. "It's going to be okay," she whispered. To the baby, to herself. "I promise it's going to be okay." She unlocked the nursery door and went downstairs to let in the first person she would trust with the truth. The first set up in a very long fight. Rebecca sat at the kitchen table, her lawyer face firmly in place. She had listened to 30 minutes of recordings. That was all she needed. "Oh, Claire," she said softly. "Honey, I'm so sorry." "Don't," Claire said. She kept her voice steady. "If you're nice to me, I'll cry. And I need to think, not cry." Rebecca nodded. She understood. They had been friends since college. She knew Claire well enough to know that kindness right now would shatter the careful control holding her together. "Okay, then let's be practical." Rebecca pulled out her legal pad. "How much do you know about your finances?" "Not enough. Marcus handles all of that. I have access to our joint checking account, but the investment accounts, the business accounts, everything else is in his name. We'll need to change that tonight, before he realizes you know." Rebecca started writing. "Do you have documentation of the prenup?" "In the safe upstairs. He has the combination, though." "Get it. Take photos of everything in that safe, every document, every piece of paper, then put it all back exactly as you found it." Claire stood up. Her body felt heavy, foreign. She climbed the stairs to their bedroom. Their wedding photo hung on the wall, both of them smiling, both of them lying, or at least one of them lying. She had been telling the truth. The safe was in Marcus's closet, hidden behind his suits. The suits she had dry cleaned for him every week. The ties she had bought him for Christmas. The life she had maintained while he planned her destruction. She knew the combination. Their wedding date. She had thought it was romantic. Now it just felt stupid. Inside the safe, folders of documents, insurance policies, property deeds, investment statements, and there, the prenup. She pulled out her phone and photographed every page, every line, every clause that would trap her if she didn't act fast. Her hands shook, but she was thorough. She had been a marketing director before she quit to support Marcus's career. She knew how to document, how to organize, how to build a case. She just never thought she would be building one against her own husband. Footsteps on the stairs. Emma. "Mommy, who's here?" "Aunt Becca, sweetie. Go say hi. I'll be down in a minute." Emma's feet pattered away. Claire finished photographing, put everything back exactly as it had been, closed the safe. She stood in Marcus's closet surrounded by his expensive clothes and felt absolutely nothing. That was new too, the numbness. When she came back downstairs, Rebecca was teaching Emma a card game, regular life continuing as if everything wasn't disintegrating. They tucked Emma into bed together, read her a story, kissed her goodnight, all the normal rituals. But underneath, Claire's mind raced. Back in the kitchen, Rebecca had spread the documents across the table. "This prenup," she said, "it's standard. Protects his assets if you divorce within 5 years. After that, it's void and you'd be entitled to community property. We're at 4 years, 11 months. I know, he timed this perfectly." Rebecca tapped her pen against the pad. "But there's a clause here. Section 7, if either party commits adultery using marital or business assets, the prenup is voidable." Oh, Claire's head snapped up. "What?" "If he used company money for the affair, company car, company credit cards, anything tied to marital finances or his business, you can challenge the prenup on grounds of moral turpitude and fraud." "Can we prove that?" "He's a tech CEO. Everything leaves a digital trail. We just need to find it." Rebecca looked at her friend. "But Claire, you need to decide something right now. Do you want to try to save this marriage? Or do you want out?" The question hung in the air. 5 years ago, Claire would have said save it. Even 5 days ago, she would have tried, would have suggested counseling, would have blamed herself, would have looked in the mirror and wondered what she had done wrong. But she had listened to 7 hours of recordings, had heard him laugh about her body, planned to take her baby, plot her destruction with such casual precision that it took her breath away. "I want out," she said, "but I want justice. I want him to face consequences for what he's done. Justice isn't always the same as revenge," Rebecca warned. "I don't want revenge. I want the truth. I want everyone to see who he really is. And I want my babies protected." Claire's hand went to her belly. Both of them. Rebecca smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. It was her courtroom smile. "Then let's build a case." They worked until midnight, made lists, developed strategy. Rebecca called in a favor from a private investigator she had worked with on other cases. Set up an emergency meeting with Thomas Ashford, the best divorce attorney in the city. When Rebecca finally left, Claire cleaned up the kitchen, loaded the dishwasher, wiped down the counters, all the normal tasks that made up her days. At 12:30, she heard Marcus's car in the driveway. She was in bed when he came upstairs, pretending to be asleep, lying very still, breathing slowly. He stood in the doorway for a moment. She could feel him watching her. Then he moved to the bathroom, shower running, water shutting off, the sounds of him getting ready for bed. He slipped under the covers beside her. She didn't move, didn't acknowledge him. "Claire?" he whispered. She didn't answer. He rolled over. Within minutes, his breathing deepened. Asleep, no guilt keeping him awake. Claire lay in the dark, eyes open, counting the shadows on the ceiling. Next to her, the man she had married slept peacefully, the man who had every intention of destroying her. But she knew now she had evidence. She had a plan, and she had something he had miscalculated. She had rage, pure, focused maternal rage. He thought she was weak, dependent, too tired and pregnant to fight. He was wrong. At 2 in the morning, her phone buzzed silently. A text from Rebecca. "Thomas can see you tomorrow, 9 a.m., his office. Bring everything." Claire texted back, "I'll be there." Then she checked her cloud storage one more time. All 7 hours and 43 minutes of recordings, backed up in 5 different locations. Protected by passwords Marcus didn't know. Evidence he didn't know existed. Tomorrow, she would take the first official step, would sit across from a divorce attorney and say the words out loud. "My husband is having an affair. He's planning to divorce me after the baby's born. He wants to take custody, and I have proof." Tomorrow, the war would officially begin, but tonight she lay next to him one last time. The last night she would share a bed with someone who had betrayed her so completely. The baby kicked, strong, insistent kicks, as if the baby knew, as if even in the womb her daughter could sense the shift. "It's okay," Claire whispered silently. "Mommy's got this. Mommy's going to protect you." Outside, night deepened into the darkest hours before dawn. The world slept, but Claire didn't sleep. She lay awake, planning, strategizing, transforming from the trusting wife she had been into the fighter she needed to become. When dawn finally came, streaking pale light through the bedroom window, Marcus stirred, reached for her in his sleep. Claire moved away. He didn't notice. He never noticed. But soon, everyone would notice. Soon, the truth would come out, and he would lose everything. Thomas Ashford's office occupied the top floor of a glass building downtown. Floor-to-ceiling windows, leather furniture, the quiet hum of money and power. Claire sat in an expensive chair, her belly pressed against the edge of his mahogany desk. Rebecca sat beside her. Thomas, 50-something, with sharp eyes and sharper suits, listened without interrupting. She played him 15 minutes of recordings. His expression never changed. When the audio ended, he leaned back in his chair. "Mrs. Bennett," he said, "you have an extraordinarily strong case. The prenup he's relying on becomes worthless if we can prove he used business assets for the affair." "Can we prove it?" Claire asked. "We can try. I know someone. Computer forensics specialist. Very discreet." Thomas made a note. "The recordings alone are damaging, but we need financial documentation. Paper trails, hard evidence of funds misused." "She works at his company," Claire said. "Samantha Rothwell. She's VP of Operations." Thomas's eyebrows rose slightly. "The affair is with an employee? That's a liability for the company. Their board won't be pleased." "He promoted her last year," Claire continued, "right after they started seeing each other, based on the timestamps on the recordings. Better and better. Thomas wrote more notes. Here's what concerns me, the prenup. You signed it 5 years ago. If we can't break it, if the judge enforces it, you walk away with $100,000 and nothing else. Claire's stomach dropped. 100,000? It's not enough to restart your life, especially with a newborn and a stepdaughter. Especially after giving up your career to support his. Thomas looked at her directly. We need to void that prenup. And to do that, we need to prove he used community property or business assets for the affair. His car is registered through the company, Rebecca said. Company car. If he used it for dates, for meetings with her, that's a start. What else? His credit cards are all business cards, Claire said slowly, memory clicking into place. I have a personal card on our joint account, but his cards are all tied to the company for tax purposes. He said it was easier for business expenses. If he bought her gifts, took her to dinners, paid for hotels, Thomas's smile was thin, then he's been committing fraud against his own company, using business resources for personal relationships. The board could terminate him. The IRS could investigate. Claire's hands shook. This was bigger than she had thought, bigger than just a divorce. There's something else, she said. The recordings mentioned plans for after the divorce. He wants primary custody. He talked about documenting postpartum depression, making me look unstable. Thomas's expression went cold. He's planning to use your mental health against you after orchestrating your emotional trauma? Yes. We'll need to document that intent. Show he deliberately caused distress with the goal of using it against you. That's abuse, Mrs. Bennett. Financial and psychological abuse. The words landed heavy. Abuse. She had never thought of it that way. But listening to him plan her breakdown so he could take her baby, what else could you call it? I want full custody, Claire said. Her voice didn't shake. Of both children, Emma and the baby. We'll fight for that. But Mrs. Bennett, I need to be honest. Family court can be unpredictable. He's wealthy. He can afford excellent representation. He can paint himself as the stable parent and you as the pregnant woman he's mentally torturing. Claire's voice went sharp. I have recordings of him planning psychological warfare against me. That has to count for something. It does, but we need more. We need financial documentation. We need evidence of the affair that's irrefutable. We need to make him so toxic that no judge would give him primary custody. Rebecca spoke up. I've hired a private investigator, Trevor Mason. He's following Marcus now, getting photos, documentation of meetings with Samantha. Good. We need everything. Cell phone records, hotel receipts, restaurant charges, every piece of evidence that shows this affair has been ongoing and extensive. Thomas pulled out a fresh legal pad. Here's our timeline. You're 8 months pregnant. Due in approximately 3 weeks? Yes, December 23rd. Right before Christmas. That's actually helpful. Courts tend to favor keeping babies with mothers during infancy, especially around holidays. Thomas wrote, here's what we do. We gather evidence. We don't file yet. We wait until you've recovered from childbirth. Then we file fast and hard with everything we have. Why wait? Claire asked. Because right now you're vulnerable, 8 months pregnant. If we file now, he can paint you as emotional, hormonal, irrational. But if we wait until you have given birth, until you're strong again, the optics are better. But the prenup voids after 5 years. You'll hit 5 years on January 15th. If we can hold out until then, the prenup is worthless anyway. We don't need to break it. We just need to outlast it. Claire did the math. Baby due December 23rd. 5-year anniversary January 15th, 3 weeks after birth. I can do that, she said. I can wait 3 weeks. Can you live with him? Pretend nothing's wrong? Could she? Sleep next to him, smile at him, maintain the illusion? The baby kicked, hard, as if answering for her. Yes, Claire said, I can do whatever I need to do to protect my children. Thomas nodded. Then here's the plan. We document everything between now and then. We gather evidence. We build an unshakable case. And then in mid-January, we file for divorce with a motion for emergency custody based on his intent to psychologically abuse you and use the children as weapons. Will it work? Mrs. Bennett, I've been practicing family law for 27 years. I've never seen a case with evidence this clear. 7 hours of recordings where he details his entire strategy? That's a gift. Most of my clients just have suspicions and phone records. You have his voice, his words, his plan laid out in detail. Hope flickered in Claire's chest for the first time in 2 days. But, Thomas continued, we have to be smart. If he realizes you know, if he suspects anything, he'll start covering his tracks. Moving money, destroying evidence. We can't tip our hand until we're ready to strike. I understand. Can you do that? Can you go home tonight and act normal? Pretend you're still the trusting wife. Claire thought about lying in bed pretending to sleep. Thought about the recordings she had listened to in secret. Thought about 3 more weeks of deception. I've been doing it for 2 days already, she said. I can do it for 3 more weeks. They spent another hour discussing details. Discovery plans, deposition strategies, custody evaluations, words that would have meant nothing to her a week ago, but now were her vocabulary, her survival language. When they finally left Thomas's office, the sun was high. Midday Monday. She had told Marcus she had a doctor's appointment. He hadn't questioned it. Why would he? She had appointments every week now. In the parking garage, Rebecca hugged her. You're doing the right thing. Am I? 3 more weeks of lying to him? He's been lying to you for 2 years. You're not lying. You're protecting yourself and your babies. Becca, Claire said quietly, I'm scared. I know, but honey, you're also the strongest person I know. You're going to get through this, and on the other side, you're going to be free. Free. The word felt impossible, but also necessary. Rebecca drove away. Claire sat in her car, hands on the steering wheel, belly pressed against it. She looked at herself in the rearview mirror. Her eyes were different now, harder. The soft, trusting look was gone. Something steel had replaced it. She started the car, drove home through streets lined with autumn leaves, past other houses where other families lived other lives, lives that might be just as broken behind closed doors. At home, she parked in the driveway. The house looked the same. Beautiful, expensive, perfect. All lies, she thought. Beautiful lies. Inside, she did laundry, made dinner, normal tasks that made up normal days. But nothing was normal anymore. At 6, Marcus came home, kissed her cheek, asked about her doctor's appointment. Everything's fine, she said. Baby's healthy. 3 more weeks. 3 more weeks, he echoed. He smiled. Then our family will be complete. Claire smiled back. But inside, she counted. 3 more weeks of this performance. 3 more weeks of protecting in her secrets while he protected his. Then the truth would come out. The lies would end, and they would both learn what complete actually meant. It meant devastation. It meant reconstruction. It meant destroying everything false to build something real. 3 more weeks. She could survive anything for 3 more weeks. Emma's voice came from the breakfast table on Saturday morning. Mommy, are you and Daddy getting divorced? Claire's coffee mug stopped halfway to her lips. Marcus froze with his phone in his hand. What? Claire kept her voice calm. Why would you ask that, sweetie? Taylor at school. Her parents got divorced. She said first they stopped talking. Then someone moves out. You and Daddy don't talk much anymore. From the mouths of children, 7 years old and already so perceptive. We're fine, Emma, Marcus said quickly. He shot Claire a look. Warning, everything's fine. But Emma wasn't convinced. She picked at her pancakes, moving them around her plate. My real mommy and daddy stopped talking too, before they divorced. Claire's heart ached. Emma's mother, Marcus's first wife, had left when Emma was 3, left and never looked back, signed away custody, moved to another state, sent a birthday card once a year and nothing else. We're not getting divorced, Claire said. The lie tasted like ash. We're just busy, that's all, with the baby coming and Daddy's work. Emma didn't look reassured, but she was 7. What could she really understand about the complexity of adult betrayal? Marcus left for the office. Another Saturday, another emergency. Claire had stopped asking if they were real emergencies. She knew where he was going. Emma helped clear the table, unusually quiet. Want to watch a movie? Claire asked. Just us? Emma nodded. They settled on the couch, Claire's swollen feet propped on the ottoman, Emma tucked against her side. Some animated princess film Emma had seen a dozen times. Halfway through, Emma spoke. Mommy, can I tell you something? Of course, baby. Always. I saw things when I was at Daddy's office, the times my tablet was recording. Claire's body went rigid. What kind of things? Ms. Sam was there a lot, more than the recording times. Sometimes when Daddy said he had meetings, Ms. Sam was the only one there. Did you tell Daddy this? No, he seemed upset about the recording. I didn't want to make him more mad. Emma's voice got smaller. Am I in trouble? No, sweetheart. You're not in any kind of trouble. You didn't do anything wrong. Emma was quiet for a moment, then. Sometimes Miss Sam wore your robe at the beach house, the pink one with the flowers. The beach house, their vacation home in San Diego. Claire hadn't been there in 6 months, too pregnant to travel, but Marcus had gone twice for business meetings. She wore my robe? Uh-huh. And once she had the necklace Daddy said was for you, the one with the blue stone. She was wearing it at his office. Claire's throat closed. The aquamarine necklace, her December birthday gift, Marcus had said, still in its box in his closet because her birthday wasn't until next week. Except apparently it wasn't really for her. Emma, Claire said carefully, did Ms. Sam ever say anything mean about me? Emma picked at the couch cushion. Sometimes, when she didn't know I was listening, she said you were... Emma's face scrunched up, remembering. She said you were sweet but boring, and that Daddy deserves someone more exciting. The words shouldn't have hurt. Claire had heard worse on the recordings. But hearing that Emma had witnessed these things, that her stepdaughter had absorbed this poison without anyone knowing, made rage bloom fresh in Claire's chest. Ms. Sam was wrong, Claire said firmly. And Emma, honey, I need you to know something. You recording those conversations? You didn't do anything bad. Sometimes the truth needs to come out, and sometimes it comes out in unexpected ways. Like through a game app? Exactly like that. Emma leaned her head against Claire's shoulder. I like you, Mommy. You're not boring. You paint butterflies and make good pancakes, and you read me stories with all the voices. Claire's eyes burned. I like you too, Emma. So much. They finished the movie. When it ended, Emma went upstairs to play. Claire sat on the couch, one hand on her belly, and pulled out her phone. She called Rebecca. I need to talk. Can you come over? Give me 30 minutes. While she waited, Claire did something she had been avoiding. She pulled up Marcus's location history. She had access to it through their family plan. He had suggested it years ago when she worried about him traveling so much for work. This way you always know where I am, he had said. Full transparency. Except he had forgotten one crucial detail. Location history worked both ways. She scrolled back through the months. Business trips that weren't to business locations. Late nights at the office that were actually late nights at an apartment complex across town. Weekend meetings that happened at beach houses and mountain cabins. All documented, all time-stamped, all trackable. When Rebecca arrived, Claire showed her everything. The location history, Emma's testimony, the evidence piling up day after day. This is good, Rebecca said. This is really good. The daughter's testimony especially. A child witness who can testify to seeing the affair partner at inappropriate locations, using marital property. She's 7, Claire said. I can't put her through testimony. We probably won't have to. The threat of it might be enough. But Claire, we need to prepare for every possibility. If this goes to trial, I don't want Emma traumatized. Neither do I, but protecting her might mean letting her tell the truth, gently, with a child psychologist present. These things can be done carefully. Claire's phone buzzed, a text from Marcus. Staying late, code review running long. Don't wait up. She checked his location. Sam's apartment building, another lie. Another perfectly crafted excuse. I'm so tired of this, Claire said, pretending I don't know, smiling when he lies, acting like our marriage is real. 2 more weeks, Rebecca reminded her. 2 weeks until the baby, then 2 weeks recovery, then January 15th and the prenup is void. Then we file. A month. I have to do this for another month. You can do anything for a month. Could she? Could she sleep next to him for 30 more nights? Could she maintain this performance while her body prepared to give birth to their child? The baby kicked, strong, insistent movements. Claire spread her hand over the spot. I have to, she said. For her, for Emma, I have to be strong. You are strong. You're the strongest person I know. After Rebecca left, Claire sat at the kitchen table. She pulled up a note-taking app and started writing. Everything Emma had told her, every detail, dated and time-stamped. Evidence, documentation, building a case one truth at a time. At 8, Emma came down for dinner. They made pasta together, Emma standing on a step stool to reach the counter. Normal life continuing, the surface calm while underneath, everything churned. Marcus came home at 10, kissed Emma goodnight, kissed Claire's cheek, went upstairs to shower. Claire stayed downstairs. She looked at the family photos on the walls. Their wedding, Emma's birthday parties, vacations to Disneyland and Hawaii. All the moments that made up a life, how many of them had been real? How many had been performance? She didn't know anymore, couldn't trust her own memories. Every smile might have been fake, every I love you might have been a lie. But Emma's observations were real, the recordings were real, the evidence was real, and soon, very soon, the truth would be real too. In 2 weeks, she would give birth, would hold her daughter for the first time, would become a mother of 2, and then when she was strong again, when her body had healed, she would take everything Marcus thought he controlled and rip it away from him, not for revenge, for justice, for truth, for her daughters, both of them, who deserved to grow up knowing their mother fought for them. Claire turned off the downstairs lights and climbed the stairs. One hand on the railing, one on her belly. Slow, deliberate steps. 2 more weeks pregnant, 2 weeks recovery, then the war. She could survive anything for a month. She was already surviving the impossible. The conference room at Thomas Ashford's office felt cold despite the California sunshine streaming through the windows. Claire sat across from Thomas and a man she had never met, Trevor Mason, the private investigator. Trevor spread photographs across the polished table like a dealer laying out cards. 2 weeks of surveillance, he had said. Very revealing, 2 weeks. The first photo showed Marcus and Sam at a restaurant, not a business dinner, his hand on hers across the table, wine glasses catching candlelight. Charged to his company card, Trevor said. $700 dinner, plus another $400 on wine. Listed as client entertainment. Next photo, Marcus and Sam entering a hotel, different hotel, downtown location. Company credit card again. Room booked under his name. Listed as accommodation for out-of-town business meeting. Except, Trevor pulled out a printed receipt. He lives 30 minutes away, and she lives 20 minutes away. No business purpose. More photos. Marcus's company car parked outside Sam's apartment. Timestamps showing overnight stays. The same car used to take Emma to school, now documented at his mistress's home. Company vehicle, Trevor noted, assigned to him for business use. Personal use is allowed for commuting, but the amount of time spent at her residence exceeds any reasonable personal use policy. Claire stared at the photos, her husband's face, his smile, the way he looked at Sam, the same way he used to look at her once upon a time. There's more, Trevor said. He pulled out financial documents. I have a contact at your husband's company, someone willing to testify about certain irregularities. Your husband authorized a substantial salary increase for Ms. Rothwell last year, 40% raise. The only executive to receive such an increase. When? Claire asked. June of last year, right around the time their affair started, based on your recordings. Quid pro quo, Claire thought. He promoted her. Or maybe he promoted her to keep her close, to justify her presence. Either way, it reeked of impropriety. The company car thing is particularly good, Thomas said. California law is clear. Company vehicles used for personal relationships are considered misuse of corporate resources. The board could terminate him for cause. You want me to report this to his board? Claire asked. Not yet, but we hold it as leverage. When we file for divorce, we can threaten to expose this to his board unless he agrees to favorable terms. Or we can actually expose it. Either way, it's pressure. Wouldn't that hurt the company's value? Hurt what I get in the settlement? Thomas smiled. Good question. Shows you're thinking strategically. The answer is it might. But it also might force a quick, favorable settlement to avoid a public scandal. It's a weapon we keep in reserve. Trevor pulled out more documents. Bank statements. There's an account you're not aware of. Offshore, Cayman Islands. He's been moving money there for 6 months. Small amounts at first, larger amounts recently. Total of $3.2 million. Claire's breath stopped. $3 million. He's hiding assets, preparing for divorce by moving money somewhere you can't easily access it. Classic strategy, also illegal in California, community property state. He's required to disclose all assets. So he's committing fraud. Yes, financial fraud against you, potentially tax fraud against the IRS, and if he's using company funds to do it, fraud against his company. Thomas leaned back. Mrs. Bennett, your husband is in serious legal trouble. He just doesn't know it yet. Claire felt dizzy. She put her hand on the table to steady herself. The baby kicked as if registering her stress. Are you okay? Thomas asked. Do you need water? I'm fine, just $3 million, hidden, while he planned to divorce me with a prenup that leaves me with $100,000. While planning to take custody of your baby, Trevor added. Based on your recordings, he intended to document you as an unfit mother. Use postpartum depression as a custody weapon. The rage that had been simmering for weeks crystallized into something cold and hard. I want him destroyed, Claire said quietly. Not hurt, not inconvenienced. Destroyed. Thomas and Trevor exchanged glances. Mrs. Bennett, Thomas said carefully, I understand your anger, but this isn't revenge. This is justice. He planned to steal my child, hide millions from me, leave me penniless while raising a newborn alone. He calculated every detail of my destruction. I want everyone to know what he did. I want his reputation gone, his career gone, everything. That's aggressive, Thomas said. Can you do it? Legally? Ethically? Yes. If we expose the affair to his board, file criminal complaints for financial fraud, and pursue maximum custody and assets in the divorce, we can make his life very difficult. Then do it. All of it. The board exposure will likely get him fired. Good. The criminal complaints might result in charges, possibly jail time. Even better. He'll be financially devastated, reputation destroyed, career over. That's exactly what he planned for me, Claire said. Except I didn't do anything wrong. I was just his wife. I was pregnant with his baby. I trusted him, and he weaponized all of it. Thomas nodded slowly. Okay, then we build a case that destroys him completely. But Mrs. Bennett, you need to be sure. Once we start this, once we expose everything, there's no going back. It will be ugly, public, devastating for everyone involved. Including Emma, Trevor said gently. Trevor, she'll know her father is a fraud. Claire thought about that, about Emma's innocent questions, about her confusion when the tablet recording had played, about her testimony that Sam had worn Claire's robe. Emma already knows something is wrong, Claire said. She's asked if we're getting divorced. She's seen things. She deserves to know the truth age appropriately, and she deserves to see that actions have consequences. That lying and cheating and planning to hurt people doesn't just work out fine. Okay, Thomas said. Then we proceed with maximum damage. Everything we can legally do to expose and punish. They spent 2 more hours planning, filing strategies, evidence presentation, criminal complaint procedures, board exposure timing. By the time Claire left, her head spun with details. But her purpose was clear. She drove home slowly. Her back ached, her feet were swollen. At a red light, she caught her reflection in the rearview mirror. She looked tired, worn, pregnant, and exhausted. But her eyes were different. Not soft anymore. Not trusting. Hard. Determined. Dangerous. At home, she parked in the driveway. Sat in the car for a moment, gathering strength. The house looked peaceful. Beautiful. The life they had built together. The life that was about to burn down. She went inside. Made dinner. Fed Emma, helped with homework, all the normal routines. Marcus came home at 7. "How was your day?" he asked. "Fine," she said. "Doctor's appointment. Everything looks good. Baby's dropped. Could be any day now." "Any day." "Wow," he smiled. "Our daughter. Finally here." "Our daughter," Claire thought. "The daughter you planned to use against me. The daughter you planned to take away while I was exhausted and vulnerable." "Yes," she said. "Finally." That night, lying in bed, Marcus asleep beside her, Claire stared at the ceiling. One more week, maybe two, until the baby came. Then 2 weeks recovery. Then January 15th. Then filing. 1 month from tonight, everything would be different. She put her hand on her belly, felt the baby move. "I'm sorry," she whispered silently. "I'm sorry your father is who he is, but I promise I'll protect you. I'll make sure you're safe. I'll make sure you know you're loved." The baby kicked, strong, insistent kicks. "You're a fighter," Claire whispered. "Good. You're going to need to be." Outside, winter wind rattled the windows. December cold settling over California. Holiday lights on neighboring houses. The season of joy and family and peace. But there would be no peace in this house. Not anymore. Not until the truth came out. Not until justice was served. Claire closed her eyes, tried to sleep. But sleep felt impossible when you were lying next to your enemy, when you were counting down days until war. The contractions started on a Tuesday, December 20th, 3 days before Christmas. Claire was folding laundry in the nursery when the first one hit. Not painful exactly, just a tightening, a warning. She sat on the rocking chair, breathing through it, counting, 60 seconds. Then it passed, false labor probably. She had been having Braxton Hicks for weeks. But 30 minutes later, another one, stronger, longer. She pulled out her phone, texted Rebecca. "Baby time, maybe. Contractions 10 minutes apart." The response came immediately. "Hospital?" "Not yet. Doctor said wait until 5 minutes apart." "Keep me posted. You've got this." Claire went downstairs, made herself tea, tried to stay calm. The next contraction came 8 minutes later. Then 7, then 6. She called Marcus. "I think this is real. Contractions are getting closer." "I'm on my way, 20 minutes. No rush, still early. But there was a part of her that didn't want him there, didn't want him holding her hand through labor, didn't want him acting the devoted husband when she knew the truth. She called her mother instead. Diana Sullivan answered on the first ring. "It's time, Mom. I'm coming, leaving now." Her mother lived an hour away. That would be close timing if things progressed fast. Marcus arrived home in 15 minutes. He found Claire in the kitchen, leaning against the counter, breathing through a contraction. "Should we go to the hospital?" His face was pale, worried. "Not yet. They'll just send us home if I'm not far enough along." "Are you sure? You look—" "I've done this before with Emma." Not her own child, but she had been there. Watched Marcus's ex-wife labor, learned the rhythms. "We wait until contractions are 5 minutes apart and consistent for an hour." They waited. Marcus paced. Claire breathed. Emma came home from school and immediately sensed the tension. "Is the baby coming?" Her eyes were wide. "Yes, sweetie. Soon." "Can I be there?" "Not for the birth, but you'll meet your sister right after, I promise." Contractions kept coming. 4 minutes apart. 3. The pain was real now. Deep. Primal. "Hospital," Claire said through gritted teeth. "Now." The drive was a blur. Marcus driving too fast. Claire breathing through contractions in the back seat. Her mother met them at the hospital entrance. Labor and delivery, a private room, monitors attached to her belly, the baby's heartbeat filling the space with steady rhythm. Sarah Phillips appeared, calm and professional. She checked Claire's progress. 6 centimeters, she said. "You're moving fast. This baby wants out." The hours blurred. Pain, breathing, Marcus holding her hand, her mother wiping her face with cool cloths, nurses checking monitors, Dr. Phillips appearing and disappearing. At some point, Claire's phone buzzed. Text from Rebecca. "Thinking of you. You're a warrior." Another text came right after, from Thomas Ashford. "Good luck. See you in January." January, the divorce filing, the end of this pretense, a contraction so strong it erased thought. Claire gripping the bed rails, breathed, Counted. "You're doing great," Dr. Phillips said. "Almost there." "I can't," Claire gasped. "I can't do this." "You can, you are. Your daughter is almost here." Another contraction, another, the urge to push overwhelming. "Okay," Dr. Phillips said. "Next contraction. Push. Give me everything you've got." Claire pushed through pain that felt like being torn apart, pushed through exhaustion, pushed through the knowledge that this baby was being born into a family that was already broken. Again, push. She pushed, again and again and again, and then suddenly a cry, high and indignant, the most beautiful sound in the world. "It's a girl," Dr. Phillips said. "Beautiful baby girl." They laid her on Claire's chest, tiny, perfect, eyes squinting at the bright world, 10 fingers, 10 toes, a shock of dark hair. "Hi, baby," Claire whispered. "Hi, Sophia." Sophia Grace, wisdom and grace. Everything Claire hoped this child would have. Everything she herself would need for what came next. Marcus leaned in, tears on his face. "She's perfect." And for a moment, just a moment, Claire let herself believe the illusion. Let herself pretend this was a normal family, a normal birth, a normal beginning. But Sophia's cries brought reality crashing back. This baby would grow up knowing her parents were divorced, knowing her father had betrayed her mother, knowing that family could fracture. "Can I hold her, Marca?" Marcus asked. Every fiber in Claire's being wanted to say no, wanted to pull Sophia closer, protect her from the man who had planned to use her as a weapon. But she couldn't. Not yet. Not here. Not until the legal battle gave her the protection she needed. "Of course," she said. Marcus held Sophia carefully, looked at her with something like wonder. And Claire saw it then. The cognitive dissonance. He could love this baby and still have planned everything he planned. Could hold her gently while scheming to take her from her mother. People were complicated. Evil wasn't always obvious. Sometimes it wore the face of love. "I'll step out," Dinah said quietly. "Let you three have a moment." But Claire didn't want a moment. She wanted her mother here, wanted witnesses, wanted anyone who wasn't Marcus. "Stay, Mom, please." Dinah sat back down, understanding in her eyes. She knew. Claire had told her mother everything, had played her the recordings, had cried in her childhood bedroom while Diana held her and promised everything would be okay. The nurses came to check vitals, to clean Sophia, to run tests, the normal rhythms of birth. Marcus's phone buzzed. He checked it. His face changed. "Work emergency," he said. "I need to make a call." "Now our daughter was just born." "I know, I'm sorry. It's the launch. Critical bug. I'll be right back." He left, went into the hallway. Claire watched him through the door window, watched him pace, watched him talk animatedly into his phone. Her mother moved closer. "You okay?" "I will be. Soon. January 15th. January 15th. 26 days. 26 days to recover, to heal, to prepare. Marcus came back 20 minutes later. "Sorry, crisis averted. Where's Sophia?" "In the bassinet, sleeping." Claire had been staring at her, memorizing her face, promising her things silently. They stayed in the hospital 2 days. Claire recovering. Sophia sleeping and eating and sleeping again. Visitors came. Rebecca brought flowers. Emma came with handmade cards. Marcus's mother arrived with expensive gifts and cold eyes. "Make sure you take care of yourself," Marcus's mother said. "Postpartum depression is so common. You'll need to watch for signs." The words were innocent, caring even, but Claire heard the threat underneath. They were already laying groundwork, already preparing to document her as unstable. "I'll be fine," Claire said. "I have excellent support." Of course, but still, first-time mothers often struggle. A meaningful look at Marcus. "We'll all need to watch closely." After she left, Diana spoke quietly. "She's in on it. She knows." "Probably. What a family you married into. What a family I'm divorcing out of." Going home was surreal. Marcus fussing over them, installing the car seat, carrying Sophia inside, playing devoted father and husband. The house felt different with a newborn. Smaller, more fragile, everything more precious and more dangerous. That night, Sophia in her bassinet beside the bed, Claire lay awake, exhausted but unable to sleep. Every sound made her alert. Every breath Sophia took was a miracle. Marcus slept soundly, no guilt keeping him awake, no fear, no awareness that everything was about to end. Claire picked up her phone, opened her calendar, counted days. December 22nd today, Christmas in 3 days, New Year's a week after that, then 2 more weeks, January 15th, 5-year anniversary, prenup void, January 16th, divorce filing, 25 days. She could survive anything for 25 days. She had just survived childbirth, survived knowing her husband planned her destruction, survived maintaining the illusion while building her case. 25 more days was nothing. Sophia made a small sound. Claire reached into the bassinet, touched her daughter's hand. Sophia's fingers curled around hers. "I've got you," Claire whispered. "I promise, I've got you." Outside, winter darkness pressed against the windows. Inside, a family that looked perfect, but perfection was an illusion. Always had been. Soon, very soon, the illusions would shatter. And from the broken pieces, Claire would build something real, something honest, something free. 25 days. January 16th arrived like Judgment Day. Claire sat in the conference room at Thomas Ashford's office. Sophia was 3 weeks old, sleeping in her carrier beside Claire's chair. Rebecca sat on her other side, Thomas across the table, papers spread in perfect formation. "We filed today," Thomas said. "Everything. Divorce petition, emergency custody motion, financial fraud complaints, everything." "And the company?" Claire asked. "I've drafted a letter to the board of directors, details Marcus's affair with an employee, documents company resource misuse, recommends investigation and potential termination." "You're sure about this?" Rebecca asked. "Once we send that letter, there's no taking it back." Claire looked at Sophia, 21 days old. Perfect, innocent, the baby Marcus had planned to take from her. "Send it," she said. "Wool of it. Today." They filed electronically at 9 a.m. By 9:30, Marcus's lawyer had received the petition. By 10, Marcus himself called. "What the hell is this?" His voice shook with rage. "Divorce papers," Claire said calmly. "I'm divorcing you for adultery and fraud. You can't. The prenup is void. We passed 5 years. And even if we hadn't, your affair voids it anyway. Moral turpitude, using company resources for personal relationships." Silence. "Then, you're bluffing. You have no proof. I have 7 hours and 43 minutes of recordings, you and Samantha, planning everything, your affair, the divorce, your plan to take Sophia from me, your plan to document me as mentally unstable. All of it, Marcus, every word." More silence. She could almost hear his mind racing, calculating, trying to figure out how she had evidence. "Emma's tablet," Claire continued. "Remember? The day she accidentally played audio at breakfast? You deleted it from her device. But she had already sent the files to me. All of them. Every recording her game app saved. That's invasion of privacy. That's illegal." "No, Marcus, it's not. One-party consent state. And Emma was the one recording. In locations where you had no expectation of privacy. Your office, your car, public spaces, all perfectly legal. I'll fight this. You'll lose. I have location data showing you at Samantha's apartment. I have credit card receipts for hotels and dinners charged to your company. I have bank records of $3.2 million you hid offshore. I have everything." His breathing grew ragged. "What do you want?" "Justice. I want full custody of both girls. I want 75% of marital assets. I want child support. I want you exposed for exactly who you are." "You're destroying me." "No, Marcus, you destroyed yourself. I'm just making sure everyone knows it." She hung up. Her hands were shaking. Rebecca squeezed her shoulder. "You did good." At 11, Thomas's phone rang. "It's Jennifer Hayes, Marcus's lawyer." He put it on speaker. "Mr. Ashford," Jennifer's voice was professional, cold. Your client's demands are excessive. We're prepared to offer a reasonable settlement. We're not interested in settlement, Thomas said. We're going to trial. That's unnecessary, expensive, traumatic for the children. Your client should have thought of that before planning to psychologically abuse my client and use their infant daughter as a weapon. We have recordings of him detailing his strategy. We will play them in court. Jennifer was quiet for a moment. Recordings that may not be admissible. They're absolutely admissible. One-party consent, no expectation of privacy, authenticated by the recording device metadata. Your client is done, Ms. Hayes. The only question is how much damage he wants to do on his way down. We'll fight. Good. See you in court. Thomas hung up, smiled at Claire. That went well. She didn't sound worried enough. She's bluffing. She knows these recordings are devastating, but she has to put up a fight. It's her job. At 2 p.m., the letter to Marcus's board was delivered. By 3, his phone started ringing. By 4, he was sitting in an emergency board meeting. Claire knew because Emma texted her. Daddy's really mad. He's yelling on the phone. Are you guys okay? We're fine, sweetie. This is grown-up stuff. Don't worry. But Emma was smart. She was putting pieces together. Soon, they would need to have a teal conversation about the divorce, about why, about what Emma had witnessed. That night, Marcus didn't come home. His mother called instead. What have you done? Her voice was ice. I've protected my children. You've destroyed his career, his reputation. The board is discussing termination. Good. He committed fraud against his own company, used corporate resources for a personal affair. They should terminate him. You vindictive little... I'm not vindictive. I'm just done being lied to, done being manipulated, done letting people use my children as pawns. He'll fight you for custody? He'll win. No, he won't, because I have evidence of him planning to psychologically abuse me to take Sophia, planning to document false mental health issues, planning to destroy me so he could claim I'm unfit. The judge will hear all of it. Those recordings are legal, authenticated, devastating. Your son is going to lose everything, and he deserves it. Claire hung up. Her hands were steadier this time. Rebecca looked at her. You okay? I'm perfect. The next week was chaos, depositions, discovery, legal motions flying back and forth. Marcus hired 3 different lawyers. Each one reviewed the recordings and told him the same thing. He was going to lose. The trial date was set for February, but before they got there, more dominoes fell. The company board voted to terminate Marcus for cause. No severance, immediate removal, his stock options revoked. The IPO was put on hold pending investigation. Too much scandal, too much liability. Marcus's professional reputation imploded. Articles appeared online. Tech CEO terminated for affair with employee. Company resources misused for personal relationship. His name became synonymous with corporate fraud and personal betrayal. And through it all, Claire watched. Not with satisfaction exactly, but with a sense of rightness, of balance being restored. He had planned her destruction with such precision, had counted on her being too weak, too tired, too vulnerable to fight back. He had miscalculated. The day of the custody hearing, Claire dressed carefully, professional, put together. She looked nothing like the exhausted pregnant woman Marcus had described on the recordings. She looked strong, capable, exactly like someone who should have custody of her children. They arrived at the courthouse, Marcus with Jennifer Hayes and 2 associate lawyers, Claire with Thomas, Rebecca, and her mother holding Sophia. In the courtroom, Judge Patricia Morrison presided, 50-something, known for being fair but firm. We're here on the matter of Bennett v. Bennett, the judge said. Emergency custody motion. Mrs. Bennett is seeking full custody of both minor children. Mr. Bennett? Jennifer Hayes stood. Your Honor, my client seeks shared custody. He's the father. He has every right. I've reviewed the motion, Judge Morrison interrupted. I've also reviewed the exhibits, including 7 hours of audio recordings. Mr. Ashford, these are authenticated? Yes, Your Honor, metadata verified. No tampering, no editing. I'd like to hear portions, specifically the sections referenced in the motion regarding Mr. Bennett's intent. Thomas played 3 minutes of audio, Marcus's voice filled the courtroom. After it's born, when she's vulnerable and dependent, she won't leave then. If we document her struggling with postpartum depression, it builds a case for primary custody. The judge's expression never changed, but something hardened in her eyes. When the audio ended, she looked at Marcus. Mr. Bennett, did you make these statements? Your Honor, taken out of context. Yes or no, is that your voice? Yes, but did you plan to document false mental health issues in your wife to gain custody advantage? Marcus's lawyer whispered in his ear. He swallowed. I was speaking hypothetically about concerns I had, not plans. Hypothetically, the judge made a note. Let's hear from the other party. Mrs. Bennett. Claire stood, spoke clearly. Your Honor, I'm asking for full custody because I cannot trust my children to be safe with someone who planned to psychologically abuse me, who saw our daughter not as a person, but as a tool for manipulation, who calculated every detail of my destruction while I was pregnant and vulnerable. Do you have evidence beyond the recordings? Yes, Your Honor. Thomas presented location data, financial records, text messages, email threads, everything they had compiled. The judge reviewed it all. The courtroom was silent except for pages turning. Finally, she looked up. Mr. Bennett, I'm granting Mrs. Bennett temporary full custody of both minor children. You will have supervised visitation only. 2 visits per month, 2 hours each, supervisor present. We'll revisit this in 6 months. Your Honor, Jennifer Hayes stood. Was Hayes, your client planned to weaponize a newborn infant against her mother, planned to document false mental health crises, used company resources to facilitate an affair and hide assets. These are not the actions of someone who prioritizes his children's well-being. Marcus's face went white. His mother, in the gallery, made a sound of distress. As for the divorce itself, the judge continued, given the evidence of fraud, concealment of assets, and adultery using marital and corporate resources, I'm inclined to award Mrs. Bennett a significant majority of marital property. We'll address specific distribution at trial, but Mr. Bennett, you should prepare for an unfavorable outcome. Your Honor, Marcus tried. We're adjourned. Mrs. Bennett, please file your custody schedule with the clerk. Mr. Bennett, supervised visits will begin next month. The gavel fell. Claire stood, picked up Sophia's carrier, walked out of the courtroom with her head high. Behind her, she heard Marcus arguing with his lawyers, heard his mother crying, heard the scramble of damage control, but she didn't look back. Outside, Rebecca hugged her. You did it. Full custody. Temporary, but yes. The judge basically telegraphed how she'll rule in the divorce too. You're going to get everything you asked for. Everything. Custody, C-sets, justice, not revenge. Justice. There was a difference. They went to Rebecca's car. Sophia woke up, making small, hungry sounds. Let me feed her, Claire said. Then we'll go home. Home. Not the house she had shared with Marcus. That was being sold. Divided. Her new home. A condo. Smaller. But hers. She fed Sophia in the back seat. Watched her daughter's face. Those perfect features. That innocent trust. Your father loves you, Claire whispered, but he loves himself more. And I'm going to make sure you grow up knowing you deserve better than that. Sophia's eyes drifted closed. Milk drunk, content. Claire strapped her back into the carrier, got into the front seat. Ready? Rebecca asked. Ready. They drove away from the courthouse, away from Marcus, away from the Wise, towards something new, something honest, something free. The final divorce hearing was scheduled for March, but by then there was little left to fight over. Marcus had lost almost everything. The company fired him in January. The IPO was canceled in February. His professional reputation was destroyed. LinkedIn messages went unanswered. Job applications disappeared into void. The man who had been CEO of a promising tech startup was now unemployed. Unemployable. The house sold quickly. Real estate in their neighborhood always did. They split the proceeds, but with the judge awarding Claire 75% of marital assets, she got the lion's share. Marcus's sports cars sold. The boat sold. The vacation properties sold. Everything liquidated to split assets and pay lawyers. He moved into a studio apartment in a neighborhood he would have mocked 2 months ago. Claire knew because Emma told her after their supervised visits. Daddy's new place is small, Emma said. Just one room. He sleeps on a couch that turns into a bed. Emma was handling the divorce better than expected. Claire had been honest with her, age appropriately. Daddy made choices that hurt our family. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes. Sometimes those mistakes mean people can't live together anymore. Did he hurt you? Emma had asked. He hurt my feelings. He lied to me, too. And that's not okay in a marriage. Mom, Emma had nodded. 7 years old, but understanding. Like when I lie about brushing my teeth and you get sad? Exactly like that, but bigger, grown-up sized. Now, 2 months post-filing, Claire stood in her new condo, smaller than the house, but bright, open, hers, boxes still unpacked, furniture still being arranged. But Sophia's nursery was complete. Emma's room was done. The important things first. Rebecca came over to help unpack. They worked in comfortable silence for a while, unwrapping dishes, filling cabinets. "How are you feeling?" Rebecca finally asked. Tired, relieved, sad sometimes. Sad? Not for him, for what I thought we had, for the marriage I believed in. Claire folded a towel carefully. I'm grieving someone who never really existed. That's normal. I know, doesn't make it easier. Sophia started crying from her bassinet. Claire picked her up, settling into the nursing rhythm that was becoming second nature. She's getting so big, Rebecca said. 2 months old, growing like crazy. And you? Are you okay? Really okay? Claire considered the question. Was she okay? She was divorced, single mother of two, living in a condo instead of a house, starting over at 32. But she was also free, no longer lying next to someone who hated her, no longer pretending, no longer waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm okay, she said. Better than okay, actually. I'm me again. Not who he wanted me to be, not performing, just me. I'm proud of you. For what? Getting divorced? For fighting, for protecting your kids, for not taking the easy way out. The easy way would have been staying, pretending, letting him control everything while she played the perfect wife. That had seemed easier once, before she knew the truth. Now she couldn't imagine going back to that performance. Her phone buzzed, text from Diana. Coming by with dinner, you don't need to cook. Her mother had been amazing through all of this, supportive without being smothering, present without being overwhelming. Mom's bringing food, Claire told Rebecca. I should go then. Let you have family time. Your family, Rebecca hugged her, careful of Sophia between them. You're going to be fine. Better than fine. You're going to be amazing. After Rebecca left, Claire walked through the condo. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, galley kitchen, living room with a view of the courtyard. Nothing like the house, but it was enough, more than enough. She had enrolled in an online MBA program. Classes started in 2 weeks. She was going to finish what she had started before marriage, before Marcus convinced her his career was enough for both of them. She had also started consulting. Small projects, marketing strategy for startups. She could do it from home, could work while Sophia napped, could build something that was hers. At 6, her mother arrived with lasagna and salad. They ate together, Emma chattering about school, Sophia sleeping in her swing. How was the final hearing? Diana asked quietly when Emma went to play. Quick, everything had already been decided. Judge signed the decree, 75-25 asset split in my favor. Full custody, Marcus gets supervised visits. He has to pay $15,000 a month in child support. $15,000? Based on his earning potential, not his current unemployment. Judge said his job loss was consequence of his choices, not a reason to reduce support. Good. He's appealing the amount. Of course he is. His lawyer says it's excessive given his circumstances. His circumstances are that he committed fraud and got fired. That's not my problem. Diana smiled. There's my daughter, the fighter. I had to become one. You always were one, you just forgot for a while. Maybe that was true. Maybe she had always been strong. Had just let herself become small to fit into Marcus's vision of what a wife should be. At 8, she put Emma to bed, read 3 stories, answered questions about tomorrow's schedule. Mommy? Emma said as Claire turned off the light. Yes, sweetie. Are you happy in this new place? Claire thought about the condo that was smaller but safer, about the life that was harder but honest, about the freedom that came with truth. Yes, honey, I'm happy. Are you? I think so. It's different, but I like different. Me too. She closed Emma's door, checked on Sophia, then she went to her own room. Her room. Not their room, just hers. She sat on the bed, opened her laptop, checked email, one from Thomas Ashford. Final paperwork. The decree was filed. Official. Done. One from her new client, excited about her marketing proposal. Contract attached. One from her MBA program. Welcome packet. First assignment, posted. She opened each one, responded, made notes. Built her future one email at a time. At 10, she finally lay down, exhausted. But the good kind of exhausted, the kind that came from building something real. She thought about Marcus in his studio apartment, about how far he had fallen, about how completely his life had imploded. She didn't feel satisfied exactly, didn't feel victorious. She felt something quieter, something like peace. He had gotten exactly what he gave her. Betrayal, loss, destruction. Except she was rebuilding, and he was just lost. That was the difference. She had fought for truth, for justice, for her children. He had fought for nothing but himself, and when that house of cards collapsed, there was nothing underneath to catch him. Claire closed her eyes, listened to Sophia breathing through the baby monitor, listened to the quiet of her new home. Tomorrow she would start her MBA homework, would work on her client's marketing strategy, would take Emma to school and Sophia to the pediatrician, would live her life, her real life, not the performance she had been playing. That tablet recording had changed everything. Emma's innocent game app had revealed the truth, and the truth, however painful, had set her free. She drifted towards sleep, for the first time in months, without fear, without wondering what lies tomorrow would bring. Just sleep, just peace, just the knowledge that she had survived, more than survived. She had won, not because he lost, but because she found herself. 6 months later, Claire sat in a coffee shop near her condo, laptop open, Sophia sleeping in her carrier strapped to Claire's chest. The MBA program was intense, challenging, exactly what she needed. She was writing a case study on marketing strategy for tech startups. The irony wasn't lost on her. She knew exactly how tech companies work now, knew their vulnerabilities, their strategies, their capacity for deception. She was going to use that knowledge, build something better, help founders create companies based on truth, not manipulation. Her consulting business had grown. 3 clients now, small projects that fit around Sophia's schedule, but meaningful work, work that was hers. Claire? She looked up. Sam Rothwell stood there, coffee cup in hand, looking uncertain. Claire's first instinct was anger, but it was 6 months later. 6 months of healing, 6 months of rebuilding. Sam, she said neutrally, can I talk to you? Just for a minute. Every fiber in Claire wanted to say no. This was the woman who had slept with her husband, who had planned with him, who had worn her robe and her necklace. But curiosity won. Sit. Sam sat carefully, kept her distance. I'm sorry for everything. I know that doesn't mean anything now, but I am. Why are you telling me this? Because I need you to know I didn't know. Not all of it. Sam's voice shook. When it started, Marcus said you were separating, that the marriage was basically over, that you knew about me. I believed him. When did you figure out he was lying? The recordings, hearing them in court, the things he said about you, about the baby, about his plans. Sam's eyes filled with tears. I was just another pawn, another tool he was using. Yes, you were. I lost my job too, after the board investigation. They terminated me for ethics violations. I can't work in tech anymore. My reputation is destroyed. I know. I'm not sorry about that. I don't expect you to be. I deserve it. Sam wiped her eyes. I just wanted you to know that I see it now, what he was, what I helped him do to you. And I'm sorry. Claire looked at this woman, this person who had been both villain and victim. Life was complicated that way. People were complicated. Thank you, Claire said, for testifying against him in the civil case. That helped. It was the least I could do. What he did to you, to your daughter, it was evil. I helped him. I'll live with that. We all live with our choices. Sam nodded, stood to leave, then turned back. You know what the worst part is? I actually thought he loved me, thought I was special, but I was just useful, just another tool. Yes, Claire said, that's exactly what you were. Sam left. Claire watched her go, felt something almost like pity, almost, but not quite. Sophia stirred against her chest, made small sounds. Claire adjusted the carrier, kept working. Her phone buzzed. Text from Emma. Field trip tomorrow. Can you chaperone? Claire smiled. Of course. What time? 9. To the Science Museum. I'll be there. This was her life now. Field trips and client meetings. MBA homework and midnight feedings. Single motherhood and career building. It was exhausting. Sometimes overwhelming. Sometimes she fell into bed at night wondering how she would make it through another day. But she did make it. Every day. Every challenge. Every moment of doubt. Because she was free. Because she was honest. Because she was building a life on truth instead of lies. At 2, she packed up her laptop, walked home through streets lined with spring flowers. California sunshine warm on her face. Sophia sleeping peacefully against her chest. At home, she found Emma had already walked home from school, sitting at the kitchen counter doing homework. Hey, sweetie, how was school? Good. We learned about butterflies, how they start as caterpillars and then change. Metamorphosis. Yeah, it's like magic. They go into a cocoon and come out completely different. Claire set down her bag, looked at her daughter, 7 years old and already understanding transformation. It's not magic exactly, Claire said. It's hard work. The caterpillar has to dissolve, has to break down completely, before it can become a butterfly. That sounds scary. It is scary, but it's also beautiful, because you can't become something new without letting go of what you were. Emma nodded slowly, processing. Is that what you did, Mommy? Did you transform? Claire sat beside her daughter, unstrapped Sophia, who immediately started rooting for food. She settled into nursing, one arm around Emma. Yes, baby, I transformed. I was one person when I was married to Daddy, quiet, small, trying to fit into what he wanted. But that wasn't really me. And now? Now I'm the butterfly, scared sometimes, still figuring out how to fly, but free. Emma leaned against her. I like butterfly mommy better. Me too. They sat like that, daughter, mother, baby, their own little unit. Not broken, just different. Complete in a way Claire's marriage had never been complete, because this was built on truth, on real love, on authentic connection. At 6, her phone rang. Marcus, their weekly call about the girls. She answered. Hello. Hi, just checking on Emma's schedule this week. My visitation is Saturday? Yes, 2 p.m., same supervisor as last time. Okay, thanks. A pause, then, Claire? What? Are you happy? You sound different. She almost laughed. Of course she sounded different. She was different, completely transformed from the woman he had tried to destroy. I'm very happy, she said. Happier than I've ever been. Really? In that tiny condo? Raising 2 kids alone, working and going to school? Really, because it's mine. Because it's real, because I'm not living a lie anymore. Another pause. I never meant to hurt you. Yes, Marcus, you did. You planned it in detail, but that's okay. Because hurting me showed me who I really am. Showed me what I'm capable of. I've lost everything. No, you lost things. Money, career, status. Everything you thought mattered, but you never had the things that actually matter. Love, truth, real connection. You never had those because you never valued them. That's not fair. Life isn't fair, but it is just. Eventually, we all get exactly what we deserve. She hung up. Not angry, not satisfied, just done. Emma looked up. Was that Daddy? Yes, sweetie, confirming his visit Saturday. Okay, can we make cookies before then? I want to bring him some. Claire's heart swelled, despite everything, despite knowing her father had tried to hurt her mother. Emma still loved him, still wanted connection. Children were resilient that way, capable of love even when adults didn't deserve it. We can make cookies, Claire said. That's very kind of you. That night, after Emma was asleep and Sophia was in her bassinet, Claire stood in her small living room, looked around at this life she had built from ruins. The condo wasn't much, but it was paid for with her settlement. Her space, her rules. The furniture was secondhand, but it was comfortable, chosen by her. The life was harder, but it was honest. She opened her laptop one more time, checked her email. New client inquiry, someone had referred her. Her consulting business was growing through word of mouth. She opened a new document, started writing her response. Professional, confident, the voice of someone who knew her worth. While she worked, she thought about that morning, about seeing Sam, about the woman who had also been used by Marcus, who had also lost everything. Claire didn't forgive her, probably never would, but she understood now, understood how Marcus manipulated, how he made people believe his lies. She had believed them too, for years. The difference was, she had evidence. She had Emma's recordings, she had the truth documented and undeniable, and she had used that truth to free herself. At midnight, she finally closed the laptop, checked on both girls, Emma sleeping sprawled across her bed, Sophia breathing softly in her bassinet. Claire climbed into her own bed, alone, but not lonely. She thought about transformation, about butterflies, about the caterpillar that had to dissolve completely to become something new. That had been her, dissolving, breaking down, losing everything she thought she was, and becoming something stronger, something better, something real. The tablet recording had been the catalyst, 7 hours and 43 minutes of truth that Emma had accidentally captured. Sometimes the truth came from the most unexpected places. Sometimes it took the innocence of a child to reveal what adults tried to hide. Claire's eyes drifted closed. Tomorrow she would take Emma on the field trip, would chase a toddler at a science museum, would come home exhausted and do it all again the next day. But tonight, in this moment, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Peace, not the false peace of ignorance. The real peace of truth, of knowing exactly who she was and what she had survived. Marcus had tried to destroy her, had planned it meticulously, had counted on her being too weak to fight. He had lost everything in the attempt. And she had lost the illusion, the fantasy, the lies. But she had gained herself. That was worth everything. In the darkness of her bedroom, in the quiet of her home, Claire smiled. The mistress hadn't known the little girl was recording. Marcus hadn't known his carefully planned destruction was being documented. Neither of them had realized the truth would come out. But it had, in the voice of a 7-year-old's game app, in hours of audio that couldn't be denied. The pregnant wife had gotten justice, full custody, wishes, freedom, truth, and the millionaire had lost everything: career, money, reputation, family. Not because Claire had destroyed him, but because he had destroyed himself. She had just made sure everyone could see it. That was justice, not revenge, justice. The truth setting everyone free, even the ones who didn't want to be free, even the ones who preferred their carefully constructed lies. Claire's last thought before sleep was simple, clear, true. Losing him was the best thing that never happened to me. And then she slept, deep and dreamless. The sleep of someone who had survived the impossible and come out stronger on the other side. In the morning, there would be beefy and chaos and field trips and client calls. There would be dirty diapers and homework and endless lists of things to do. But there would also be laughter and love and truth and freedom. And that made everything worth it. Every single hard, beautiful, exhausting, amazing moment. Worth it. And that's how it ended. Or rather, how it began. Claire didn't just survive Marcus's betrayal, she transformed through it. That little girl's recording didn't just expose an affair. It revealed what real strength looks like, what real love protects, what real justice means. You know what strikes me most about this story? It's not the revenge. It's the rebirth. Claire didn't destroy Marcus to feel powerful. She freed herself to feel real. That's the difference between revenge and justice. Revenge is about making someone hurt. Justice is about making things right. If this story moved you, if you found yourself rooting for Claire, if you believed in the power of truth, even when it comes from a 7-year-old's game app, do me a favor, hit that like button. Not for me, but because stories like this matter. Because they remind us that betrayal doesn't define us. How we rise from it does. Drop a comment. Tell me what you would have done in Claire's position. Would you have waited? Would you have confronted him immediately? Have you survived something similar? Your stories matter. This community matters. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, someone who's struggling, someone who thinks they're too tired, too broken, too scared to fight for themselves. Show them what's possible when you stop performing and start protecting what matters. And subscribe, because every week I bring you stories of ordinary people in extraordinary situations. Stories of survival, transformation, justice, truth. Claire's story started with 5 words from a child. Mommy, why is Daddy's voice on my tablet? Your story of transformation might be starting right now with this moment, with this choice to believe you deserve better. You do. You always did. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Thanks for believing in the power of truth. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, losing someone who doesn't value you isn't losing. It's winning in disguise. Take care of yourselves. And remember, sometimes the smallest voices reveal the biggest truths.